That was the 24-step Yang Style Taijiquan form, performed at a fairly challenging pace in terms of how low I got, in terms of how slow I went. That's just to give you an idea of what you want to aim for. The 24-step Yang Style Taijiquan form is the most popular form of exercise in the world, due largely to the fact that China is the most populous country in the world, and many of the people who practice it are in China, but it's also the most famous outside of China. It's more popular in Europe and places other than America. In America, there's another style called the Yang short, generally referred to as the Yang short form, popularized by a fellow named Ching, which is more well known than this. But this is growing in popularity because it's a standardized version of Taiji created by the Chinese in the 1950s. And it was created in order to eliminate a lot of squabbling over who had the correct Taiji forms, because prior to that, Taiji was kept within families and different secret organizations, and some people claim to have a more correct form of Taiji than the other. And so when the communists took power in China in the 50s, they tried to eliminate a lot of that squabbling by coming up with a regular form and having all the masters that had remained in China after the war, got them together and got them to put this form together. I practiced many different forms of Taiji, including the Ching form. I like this one best. I think it is the best one to start with. It's both challenging, but at the same time simple enough. In fact, it's called simplified. Sometimes the word simplified is used because there are less number of moves in it than the traditional Taiji forms. But it's also quite challenging, and in fact, it's performed in athletic competitions. So it captures the best of both worlds, and I'm going to teach this form to you as a form of health exercise, not so much as a form of martial self-defense, but it is a very effective self-defense system, and that's the kind of thing you would learn in class. Personally, I don't feel like getting into that sort of thing on videotape. What I'm concerned about now is imparting to you the basic principles of Yang Style Taiji and helping you get the footwork correct, which is how the Chinese teach their athletes. They start with the feet, and then they work their way up into more complex movements involving the upper body. And that's the approach that I'm going to take in this tape with you. The method I call Tao training. The word Tao in Chinese means piece or set. So you take an individual piece out of those many movements that you just saw me perform, and then we'll repeat that piece over and over and over again on both left and right sides until you get good at it. And once you get good at that, then you layer it. You add another piece and another piece and another piece. And so it breaks down roughly into 3 sections before you even get to learning the 24-step form. The first is called Little Tao, the second is called Middle Tao, and the third is called Big Tao. Very simple. The Little Tao is made up of 4 movements, 3 forward, 1 backward movement. The Middle Tao is made up of 3 forward movements and 2 backward movements. And the Big Tao is made up of 7 movements altogether. The same number that's in the Middle Tao is actually the Middle Tao with 2 additional movements added on. And then there's also a kind of basic transitional step that I'll show you, which is performed only on one side in the 24-step form, called empty step exercise. We'll practice that, and then after we complete that, then we'll move on and begin studying the 24-step form. The next thing that we're going to go to is called difficult step, Ao Bu in Chinese. And a difficult step is a forward-moving step in which you transfer your weight from one foot to another by means of turning your waist with your knees bent the whole time. In fact, as far as the lower body is concerned, that's what Taiji is all about. Knees are bent the whole time, the waist turns, and by turning the waist, you shift your weight from one foot to the other. But the difficult step has it all patterned out and structured in such a way that you move smoothly, transferring the weight from the left to the right, to the left to the right, moving across the floor. Now, before I begin, because of the angle of the camera, I should mention that this is meant to be an auxiliary form of study, that you use this tape to help you in the class. If you try to just use this tape, you're going to be confused. You're not going to know what the dimensions are. But just before we get to that, let me just point out what the dimensions are for the step. The dimensions, if if you'll focus on my feet right here, the dimensions of the step are 1 shoulder width wide. So I'm facing the camera right now, and you can see that I have between my feet here at least the width of my shoulders. You don't want to be too wide, and you don't want to be too narrow. If you're too wide like this, you're not going to be able to transfer your weight from one leg to the other adequately. And if you're not wide enough, you're not going to have good stability. So the idea is that 1 shoulder width gives you the kind of width, the kind of foundation that you need in order to remain stable. The other dimension is the length. You can see that when I turn this way. And when you first start Tai Chi, you start with a very modest stance. The width is always constant. You always want 1 shoulder width. But the length, you have to be careful. It should, your front foot should never be any further than the length, just a little bit longer than the length of your own foot. Once you start creeping forward and forward and forward like that, you put increasing stress on your knees, and you can get into trouble that way. But as you get more proficient in Tai Chi and as you build leg strength, you can increase the length of your stance. But when you start out very modest. And that's the way I'm going to show you in the beginning. This is very different from what I was doing in the very beginning and when I demonstrated the form. I was down in a much more ambitious stance. I was lower, I had more length. But in the beginning, you have a very small amount of length. Now the other step I'm going to show you at the same time is called the retreating step. And the retreating step is a backwards movement, where the difficult step is a forward movement. The retreating step is the inverse of that, and it follows the same principles. You turn the waist, and you shift your weight from one leg to the other, going backwards as opposed to forwards. And there are a couple of differences, which I'll talk about as I perform the step. And I'm going to break it down for you as I walk through it one time, and do it slowly, and I'll discuss it in more detail as I'm walking along. But then I'm going to perform it without any talking at all, just so that you can have a practice session with it. Now, I'm going to go through the first movement, just because this is the most difficult of all. And if you can get all the little details in the first movement, then a lot of times that will help you get what you need to know in order to go on and learn the rest of the movement. Because remember, it's not just one difficult step, it's many difficult steps that you have to take across the floor. So I'm going to perform this coming toward the camera so you can see what the first step is going to look like. And then once I finish with that, showing you toward the camera, I'm going to turn and face the mirror and perform several sets in front of the mirror so that you can follow along. Now, if I'm beginning this exercise, I would start like so, with my hands by my side. My head and spine are erect. You don't want your tail sticking out. You don't want your head slumping. You want to have good posture with your shoulders back without being rigid, though. You don't want them thrown back hard. You want them just a little bit straight, but not slumping like this. Some Tai Chi instructors say that you should round the shoulders. I don't feel that that's true. I think you should have fairly good posture the whole time. The tongue position. Imagine this is the roof of your mouth. The tongue should be curled so that it sits up on the roof of the mouth like so, touching the tip of the tongue, touching the upper palate, and breathing through the nose. And last but not least, you should have an angelic, blissful Buddha smile on your face like so whenever you perform Tai Chi. That's to get you in the proper state of mind. Now here's what the first step looks like. Let's start with both feet right together, weight distributed 50-50. And the first thing you do is you turn your waist 45 degrees to the left, and empty the left foot, that is, take the weight off of it by lifting the heel of the left foot. You'll step out onto the toe of the left foot, and then you'll turn straight, distributing your weight 50-50. The hands will go on the hips. That's just to indicate at this point your hands would be engaged if we were using the hands, but we're not. And then you inhale, and then you exhale, and you bend the knees about, start with maybe about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, no further. And you shift your weight over to the right, keeping that same height. The right leg bent all the way on the right leg, the left foot travels over, touching the side of the right foot. And now from here, you're going to step out 90-degree angle in a sort of gentle arcing movement, touch down the heel of the left foot. My center line, which is the line between my navel and chin, rotates from straight ahead 45 degrees. If you shot a line off of it and you shot a line off my foot, you would see that they're parallel. Then you lower that left foot straight. That's the next step. The weight is still on the right leg. There's no weight committed on this foot. I can take it back if I wanted to. The big mistake is that most people will shift their weight right away because they can't keeping their weight on one leg. But there's no weight. Even though I've dropped my foot which is at that 45-degree angle, straight. There's no weight on it. I bend the knee, there's still no weight on it. That's just to prepare the leg to receive the weight, which I'm going to put on it by means of turning my hips. Now at this point, I turn the waist and put the weight on this leg, and I take the weight off the back leg, and as I do, I lift the toe, and I turn. You'll see I'm going to turn the entire right leg from the hip all the way down to the heel. It's going to turn so that that right foot goes off at a 45-degree angle. The front foot is straight, and I'm heading straight ahead. From a 90-degree angle, I turn just like so, and I'm going to head straight that way. Now, this is extremely important to get that on the first step. Your orientation is straight. This is what the completed movement looks like. A front stance, this is called. When you're moving in the front stance, it's called difficult step. When you're just sitting, still, static in this position, it's called front stance. Sometimes called climbing mountain stance, because if you were climbing a mountain, this is what your legs would look like. You'd be climbing up the hill with both knees bent with one leg leading the other. Well, this is a way of climbing a mountain without being on a mountain. You can do it on flat land. These are the dimensions. Remember, one shoulder width wide. The other things to look for are the front foot position, which is straight ahead. The rear foot position in the very first step will always be 45 degrees pointing off at an angle. 45-degree angle to the right. Front foot pointing straight ahead. Your weight distribution is roughly 55 on the front leg, 45 back leg. And it depends on the length of your stance. Remember, we're starting with a very modest length. So in this case, your length is not very much, so it's about 55, 45. And the more forward you go, the more weight you have to commit to that front leg, and the less you'll have on your back leg. This is about 70-30, right back here. Right in the beginning, you start out with a very modest stance, 55, 45. Both knees are bent. Do not lock the back leg. That knee should be bent. And the front knee will be bent, and when you look over the front knee, your left knee, you should be able to just see the tip of your toe. Now, that's the forward stance. Now, if I'm going to go backwards, let me just make a few points on this. Let's say I've walked, you haven't seen how I walk across the floor, and I'll just give you a few steps here to show you what it looks like. I'm going to rock back, turn, come up, and this time instead of stepping at a 90-degree angle, I step at a 45-degree angle. Both feet are pointing off at a 45-degree angle. I lower the foot straight, I bend the knee, I turn the waist, I shift the weight to the front leg, and I make a turning movement on the back leg. Back, turn, up, step. This will be our last step forward. Now, if I want to go backwards, what will happen here is I'm going to turn my waist, shift my weight to the back leg, and take the weight off the front leg. I lift the heel, I bring the foot in, and I step back on a diagonal established by the support leg. I step straight back, and I try to touch the inside. If you can focus for a second on my foot, the inside of the rear heel. Now, if you have trouble with that, you can come down on other parts of your feet, but this will help line your feet up because it's possible to injure yourself on this step. So from here, lined up on that diagonal, you can step back, touch the inside of that heel like so, lower the foot, turn the waist, straighten that front foot. Now, I've completed one back step there now, so this is a little exercise you can do to make sure that your steps are proportional. If once you straighten that front foot, you just go back into a front stance position, you should be in the exact same position that you were in when you were going forward. You should have a 55 weight distribution, 45 on the back leg, front foot should be straight, rear foot should be off at an angle, one shoulder width wide. If any of those dimensions are wrong, if any of those properties are not there, you made an imprecise step. So this is just a way that you can check yourself. Okay, so I know I'm okay here. So now I turn the waist and I go back onto the left leg, and I don't over-rotate. As soon as my knee and the mechanics of my leg stop me, if I shot a line off my knee and I shot a line off my navel, they would be parallel. It's time to lift the heel of that front foot, which is empty, bring it in, step back on diagonal, established by the support leg, and touch again the inside of the foot you're stepping back with, in this case the right foot. Step back, touch the inside of that heel, put down the foot, turn the waist, and remember I move as a unit. I don't turn my head separately. I turn the entire body. As I do, I let this foot just kind of go dead on the floor and let it turn by virtue of my turning my waist. Now my center line or my navel and my knee are lined up. I pick up the heel, I bring that left foot in, I step back on that diagonal, I touch the inside of the heel, I turn the waist, I transfer the weight to the left, I bring the right foot in. Now if I were going to finish this is how I would finish. I would step back on diagonal, as though we're just going to take a regular backward step. I turn that foot straight, I put all my weight on this right leg, I bring the left foot one shoulder width away from the right on the same line as the right foot, and I settle my weight 50-50, and I lower my hands, and I straighten my knees, and then I bring the foot in. And I end exactly the way I began. Now those are the qualities of the forward and backward step. Now I'm going to perform it in front of the mirror and talk you through the first few of them, all the way to the end of the mirror here, and then I'll go backwards and I'll talk you through those. And then I'm just going to be quiet. We'll do the step, and then you follow with me. We'll do 2 sets without words, 1 set with words. Okay. Start with your hands by your side, tongue curled, breathing through the nose, angelic, blissful Buddha smile on your face, weight distributed 50-50. You begin by turning the waist to the left. Now you inhale at this point, step out on the toe of the left foot, exhale, settle your weight 50-50. Then bring your hands to your hips, inhale, exhale. You bend your knees very modestly, 1.5 to 2 inches. Inhale, shift your weight to the right, bring the left foot to the right. Now remember, this is a 90-degree turn. Now you step mainly behind you. Step mainly behind you, slightly forward. Your center line rotates 45 degrees. Your foot is also pointing off at a 45-degree angle. Now, using the muscles in the ankle, you lower your foot straight, you bend your knee, and you transfer the weight from the right to the left by turning the hips and taking the weight off the rear leg, and then turning on the heel as you come around. Now, I'm in a front stance. You can see the dimensions here from the side. I don't have much length. My back is straight. I don't have my tail sticking out. You have your tailbone sort of curls, not curled too far like this. Not sticking out, but right in the middle. Your head straight. Hands akimbo. I suggest that you use fists instead of thumbs, open hands like this, because your thumbs will end up getting sore if you do this for a long time. Now, from here, you rock back on your right leg. Turn the whole body, center line and left foot, 45 degrees measured from the middle of the foot. 45 degrees measured from the very center of your foot. Now, put down that left foot, come all the way up onto the left foot, balancing on the left foot. Now, from here, it's the same thing with I'm stepping forward with the right instead of the left this time. And I'm not stepping a 90-degree step, I'm doing a 45-degree step. So I step out, I touch down the heel, I touch the heel of the foot first. Both feet, if you'll observe, are pointing off at the same angle, as is my center line. Now, the name of the game is absolute control of this left leg. I have total control of my weight. Now, I use the muscles in the ankle to relax the right foot forward. I bend the knee to prepare the right leg to receive the weight when I turn my waist. I put the weight on the right leg, and at the last second, I lift my toe, I focus on the heel, and make a small adjusting turn on the right leg, turning the leg all the way from the hip, all the way down to the heel. In other words, I don't want to have this leg thought of as a separate unit. It is one structure, from the hip all the way down to the heel. A lot of people injure themselves by trying to just turn the hip, and that foot gets stuck on the floor. You have to lift that toe, turn the whole thing slightly. Now, you don't want that foot to go all the way straight. You want it at an angle. Always rear foot at an angle, and you'll see why when we do the retreating step. Okay, now we're ready to continue forward. Now, from here on out, it's 45-degree turns in the direction of the front leg. Okay? Right now, my right leg is forward, so it'll be a 45-degree turn to the right. I rock back onto the left leg, turn 45 degrees right, travel up onto the right leg, balancing on the right leg, bring the left up, step in a gentle arcing fashion, mainly backwards, slightly forward, touch the heel, lower the foot, bend the knee, turn the hips, and then turn on the heel. Now I have an abbreviated way of talking about this little action right here, and I'll go through it again. Rock back on the right foot, turn 45 degrees left, come all the way up onto the left foot. Now here's the abbreviated way of talking about it. First thing I do is I say heel, that means touch heel. Foot means lower the foot. Knee means bend the knees. Hips means turn hips and transfer weight to front leg. And then heel means make that small adjusting turn on the rear heel where you just get a little grinding action. Chinese term, pung, it means rooting into the ground. Pung, that little, like that helps you kind of lock into the ground. And so it is heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. 5 words that will help guide you through this, and that's what I'm going to recite from here on out. Rock back on the left foot, turn 45 degrees right, come all the way up, total control with that right leg. Step, heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Now the breath is inhale back, turn up, step onto left foot, step, heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Exhale as you make that turn. Inhale back, turn, up, step. Control with that right leg. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Exhale. Inhale back, turn, up, step. Now here's where you begin your exhale right here. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel, complete exhale. Inhale back, turn, up, step. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Inhale back, turn, up, step. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Inhale back, turn, up, step. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. Back, turn, up, step. Heel, foot, knee, hips, heel. And now from here I'm going to go backwards. Right, now at this point, I'm going to turn my waist toward the back leg. That's how you initiate the backward step. You just turn your belly button so that it lines up parallel with the knee, not right on top of it, not coincident, but side by side. All the weight shifts onto that left leg. Now you lift the heel of the right foot, which is different from the forward movement. When you go forward, you lift your toe. Whenever you do your forward movements, you lift the toe first. When you go backwards, you lift the heel. You lift the heel and you do a little, have the foot just kiss off the ground slightly. Just a little rub there, and you bring the foot in. Now you're lined up at a 45-degree diagonal, or roughly thereabouts, 35, 40, something like that. And you look down at your left foot, and that's exactly how you're going to step back. Now the big mistake is that a lot of people try to step directly behind them like that, which as you can see, I'm going to turn around and face you. This is not a good position for your knees to be in. This, however, is fine because there's no contradiction between my hips and my knees at this point. If I'm on a diagonal like this and I step back, if I'm here, and I come here and I step back on this diagonal right here, there's no contradiction. My hips and my knees are all lined up together. So that's the key to this. Do not step directly backward or you will injure yourself. So let me get back to where I was. I turn my hips 45 degrees to the left. I pick up the heel of the right foot. I bring the right foot in. Now I step back on diagonal, established by the left foot. I step back, and what do I touch? I touch the inside, this part right there, the inside of that right heel touches. I put down the foot. Now the reason you touch the inside of the heel is that it makes your right foot, makes whatever foot you put back, land at the appropriate angle. That is at a 45, 30, anywhere from 30 to 45 degree angle. Now from here, I turn my hips, I take the weight off this leg, I put it on the right, and I straighten that foot without lifting the toe. The foot stays flat on the ground. Then I pick up the left foot, I bring it in. Now I'm on a diagonal established by the right foot. I step back on that diagonal, I touch the inside of the heel. I turn the waist, and I straighten that front foot. Now, to check to see whether or not there is a proportionality between my forward and backward step, I turn the waist forward and go back into a front stance, and I look and I see. Do I look somewhat like I did when I was going forward? To me, I do. I look fine. This is adequate. If I'd ended up like this, or if I'd ended up like this, I would know there was something wrong. But I ended up correctly with the proper shoulder width. Now I just continue backwards. Turn the hips, pick up the heel, bring the right foot in, step back, touch the inside of the right heel, put down the foot, turn, straighten front foot. Bring left foot in, step back, touch inside of the heel, turn, straighten front foot. Right foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten left foot. Left foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Right foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Left foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Right foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Left foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Right foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Left foot in, back on diagonal, touch, turn, straighten front foot. Now, here we are at a transition point. When you are near where you started and your left foot is back, it's time to go to transition. In transition, all you do is you bring your foot in, you step back as though you were taking a regular backward step, touch the inside of the heel, turn foot and the body 45 degrees. The foot is actually 90 degrees, the body's 45. Now take the weight off this foot and turn the waist completely 90 degrees with the right foot and bring the left foot up, touching the side of the right. Now from here on out, I'm just going to do the step, two sets of the step forward and backwards with no talking. And I want you to notice that I won't be staring down at my feet. It's important once you get skilled at this that you not always be looking at your feet, that you have a kind of forward expression. You know your steps well enough to where you're not having to always check your feet. But if you need to, instead of dipping your head down like that, glance down with your eyes. That's okay to do that. Just don't bend over and change your posture. Okay, so from here, step forward, heel, foot, knee, hips, heel, hand. No more talking. Just follow me and work with me. I'll mention breathing. Exhale forward, inhale back. It's a little early to be talking about breathing, but some people really want to get into that right away. My suggestion to you is that you focus on mechanics first, then come to breathing last. Turning of the hips. Inhale, bring the foot in. Step back, and when you turn the hips, exhale. Transition, step, turn 90 degrees, shift weight to the right. Now one more set. 90-degree turn that first time. The rest of them are 45. Now, if the length, if your knees hurt, you want to shorten your length up, take small steps like this and bring your height up. It's possible to vary this. You do it whatever height feel is good for you. So if your knees hurt you, bring up the stance. I mean, I've even had people do it straight-legged like this. People with arthritis in their knees, they just went like this. It's possible to do that. Okay? So you vary it according to your own ability. More athletic people can get way down like this. I don't advise it right away, even for people with a lot of leg strength, because you need to learn how to relax when you do Tai Chi. When your legs are working like that, it's really hard to relax, and most people will just tense up their whole body once they get under stress like that. It's very important for the upper body to be loose and relaxed while the legs are doing this work. like you're going to start over again. Only touch down that foot, one shoulder width away, settle away 50-50. Lower the hands, straighten the knees. And bringing that left foot by turning the waist, lifting the left heel. Bring left foot in, turn waist, reach your way 50-50. The next thing that we're going to learn are a series of hand movements, 4 hand movements to be exact, that will be planted on top of the leg movements that we have. And with those 4 movements and those leg movements, we will have the basis of the little towel. 4 movements, 3 forward, 1 backward. And the names of those movements are parting wild horse's mane, repulsed monkey, brush knee push, and fair maiden weaves with shuttle, and we just call that shuttle for brevity's sake. So what I have the point I have to make though is that when we separate the hands, what I'm going to actually attempt to do is separate the hands from the feet so that you understand that movement in the upper body originates from here, originates from the turning of the waist. Now just to go back to the step, you should have noticed, and I should have made, the point I tried to make very clear to you, was that these turning actions right here, these stepping movements forward, occur as a result of the hips turning, the weight shift. So what we're going to do is take this hip movement right here, this waist movement, and then take it out of the dynamic forward moving and backward moving situation and put it into a static dimension so that you can just stand in one place, concentrate on turning the waist, and then do the hand movement at the same time. Now, the movement that we're going to work with is right here. You start out like so, you turn, and you come up. Step. Now watch right here. Basically what I'm doing is turning my waist 45 degrees in one direction. Now I'm coming up here, my hips are straight ahead. Now I'm turning the waist in a 45 degree direction there. So basically what that amounts to is me starting without legs. If I were crippled and I had to do this sitting down, I would start like this where I'm in a straight forward position, and then I would turn 45 degrees left, and I would turn 45 degrees right, and then 45 degrees, back to the center, then 45 degrees right, back to center, 45 degrees left, back to center, 45 degrees right, back to center. The center position is equivalent to this turn right here. When you come up like this, you're straight on. When you step and go forward into the front stance, that's equivalent to making these turns to the right or turns to the left. Now that's going to create some confusion when you try to plant these on top of the feet. And I'll come back to that a little bit later. Basically, the lower part of the body rules in Tai Chi. So if the legs tell you that you got to be forward like this, you have to be straight forward like that at this point, and that's where you're going to be. And I'll come back to that and make that a little bit clearer later on. But this is going to create, let me just warn you in advance, this is going to create some confusion because you're going to think, for example, when you do parting wild horse's mane, which looks like this, and notice that my body is oriented according to the lower body, which tells me to go straight. What you're going to think from doing this exercise is that you should be turned off to the side, which is unbalanced and doesn't feel very good. This feels good. This does not. So go by feeling and go by what the legs tell you to do. The legs tell me to go here, so this is where my hands are going to go. And I'll try to make that clear so there's no confusion once we get into the actual exercise. Now this is an exercise right here that we are going to do. I'm going to do it in front of the mirror. I'm going to do 10 breaths either way, using this to help you get the sense of using breath and waist movement together, and then using the breath and the waist movement together. You will then try to move your hands. So I'm going to turn around and face the mirror, and then we're going to go through this. And just place your hands in front of your navel like so, Fingertips point straight ahead. This is kind of like your compass. And then here you inhale, again using that tongue curl up, touching upper palate, raising your nose. Inhale. Exhale, turn 45 degrees to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn 45 degrees to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn 45 degrees to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn 45 degrees to the right. Notice I'm not bending my knees or shifting my weight. My weight stays 50-50. My knees are locked. Inhale back to center. Exhale, 45 degrees left. Inhale back to center. Exhale 45 degrees right. Inhale center. left. Center. Exhale 45 degrees left. Center. Exhale 45 degrees left. Inhale to 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 center. And exhale and let the hands drop. Okay, now the first hand movement we're going to try to build on top of this movement right here. It's called parting wild horse's mane. Okay? Parting wild horse's mane. And it looks just like this. Inhale, this is the beginning of the movement. Not the actual movement itself, just the beginning. And then exhale, in the elbows, flex back the wrist and stroke down. So you'll stroke and paint glass. Your hands drop just below the chest area, palms do. And then the left hand drops just below the belly button, and the right hand curls over right around the center of the chest so that you're forming a ball. And notice my hands are a good distance away from my body, they're not flush up against my body. And then from here we execute the movement, and I'm going to do 10 each side. Turn to the left, stroke down with the right hand and up to the left. Exhale. Turn the palms so they face each other. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn 45 degrees to the right, stroke down with the top hand and up to the right. Exhale. Notice my fingers, the wrist kind of rotate forward slightly here. Okay, that's one. Palms face each other. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Two. Palms face each other. Inhale back to center. Exhale right. Two. Inhale. Exhale. Execute move. Three. Palms face each other. Inhale back to center. Exhale. Three. Inhale. Four. Inhale. Four. Five. Five. Six. I'll slow it down just a little bit. 7. Left. Exhale forward. Inhale and transition right here. Exhale forward with right. 2. 3. Inhale. Exhale. 3. 4. 5. down simultaneously, the right hand drops faster than the left. Right hand falls, left hand comes down, comes over to right pectoral as the right hand comes up, roughly about the shoulder level, right side, like so. This is a formal posture right here that I call crane folds wing to one side, like so. You'll see this in the Tai Chi form. It's a good way to introduce it at this point. Now from here, you're going to brush down with the left hand, and as you do, open the fingertips, rotate the body 45 degrees to the left, brush, knee, push. Turn the palms so they face each other, turn straight, raise the ball up onto the left shoulder. This is inhale. Every time you catch a ball, you inhale, and exhale. Execute the movement. 1. Palms face each other, turn straight, raise ball up on the shoulder. Exhale. 2. Palms face each other, catch ball, inhale, turn straight, exhale. 2. Inhale. 3. 3. 4. 5. Last movement is called shuttle. It begins just like party while horses make. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale, drop that left hand underneath, catch the ball. Now, exhale, turn to the left, raise the bottom hand all the way over the head, the right hand pushes through. Catch the ball, inhale, come back to center, and then this time the ball is a little higher. Exhale, 1. Catch the ball, inhale, back to center. Okay, now we're going to take those hand movements, those 4 hand movements I just taught, and we're going to graft them on top of the leg movements in a pattern that we call little tao, in Chinese, xiao tao. I guess the English translation would be little piece or little set. And these 4 movements can be done ad infinitum, ad nauseum. They can be done over and over and over again. So it's possible just with these 4 movements, or even effects. So anyway, I'm going to perform the little towel 2 times facing the mirror, hoping that the earlier explanations were clear enough. Now, one thing I do want to reiterate, remember, when you perform this exercise, it creates the impression that you're off at an angle. Now, if you were to turn your feet with your waist movement, you would notice that you would get into a position like this. Now, if I take this position and bring it straight toward the camera, it looks like that. So what you have to do is get over the sense that you need to be off at this awkward angle, which is created by this exercise when you're trying to learn the hand movements, and defer to what happens with the lower part of the body. The lower part of the body says, when you complete the movement, your body should be pointing straight, not turned at an angle. So that would mean that all the movements would have to look like this, this, or that, okay? Pointing straight ahead, not off at 45-degree angles. So if you're you should be taking a class in order to learn this. I think that will become clear to you if you're in class. But if you're trying to learn this just from videotape, you're liable to get confused. So I hope that clears things up a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the little towel 2 sets, up and back. Parting while a horse is neighing. First movement. Now we begin the second movement, the only retreating movement for pulse monkey. Remember to maintain that 45-degree angle, the diagonal placement of the feet, and step back. Do not put one foot behind the other. You will injure your knees or your hips or both. I've had students do that before. Okay, getting near where I began. So now I fold into the next movement, the third movement. Brush, push. The fold looks like so. Fold wing to side. And I step. Notice the serpentine-like movement of the hand. Very important aspect. It's not a flat hand like this. It's like a snake sliding through the water. maiden, leads with shuttle, or just shuttle. Movement, repulse monkey, started. Now transition, we'll do one more set. Just to show you that you can go on with this. I'll make this pass a little bit shorter just for time's sake. Which foot is forward. Brush, push, fold, turn 9 degrees, fold, step. Repulse monkey now. And transition to the final forward movement. And maybe leaves a shuttle. finish now, drop both hands, raise them up, lower the hands, foot, and you're finished. The next step is to learn a completely different leg movement upon which we will then stack a completely different hand movement. The leg movement is called side step. It doesn't require that much explanation, except to point out again that it's all controlled by the waist. It's all waist movement, shifting the weight from one leg to the other by means of turning the waist. And actually, I think with this particular movement, you can see it more clearly than maybe in the other steps, that the hips are controlling the steps. Now, this is a completely artificial exercise right here. I mean, this is just to help you focus exclusively on the legs. So I'm just going to run through it one time, facing the mirror, and explain it as I go. Side step means you get in a lateral position just to face the camera so that I can come at you. And I would be moving from side to side versus the front of my body moving forward like so. The side of I'll be moving laterally like a crab. Okay? But I'll start facing the mirror like so. And the exercise begins, and it only goes to the left. I should make this point. This movement only goes to the left. You will only travel in the forward direction to the left. Okay, so it starts with your feet together. Put your hands on your hips just to get them out of the way. And I like to use the fist because it doesn't hurt the thumbs. And then bend the knees about to your usual height, 1.5 to 2 inches. Now turn the waist 45 degrees to the right and lift the heel of the left foot. Now you're going to turn 45 degrees to the left, and as you do, step out onto the heel of the left foot, and then turn the waist and fill up the left foot and empty the right by bringing the right heel up. And turn the waist back to the center, bring the right foot over, touch down the right foot, fill up the right foot, empty the left. And step left, and then turn and bring the right foot over, fill up right. Turn, step left, fill up left foot. Turn, bring right foot over, fill up right. Turn, step left, fill up left foot. Turn, bring right foot over, fill up right. Turn, step left, you turn 45 degrees, and turn, bring right foot over, fill up right. Turn, step left, fill up left foot. Turn, bring right foot over, fill up right, and then to finish, step out onto the heel. Instead of turning 45 degrees, just turn your hips straight, set your weight 50-50, lower the hands, straighten the knees, and then end exactly the way you did all the others. Turn the waist to the left, lift the heel of the left foot, empty that left leg, and bring the left foot in and turn straight. Now that was just to let you see what the movement looked like. Now I'm going to take you through a couple of preliminary exercises that will help you get the movement of shifting the weight by means of turning the waist from one foot to the other. And this exercise, we're going to do it 10 times each side, and then I'm going to step directly into the side step, and that will be the end of this sequence. So put your hands on your hips like so, bend your knees, then turn your waist 45 degrees to the right, and lift the heel of the left foot. Now, turn the waist back to the center, put down the left foot, and then turn the waist 45 degrees left, putting all the weight on the left and emptying the right. Now turn back to the right, empty the left, fill up the right. Turn back to the left, fill up left, empty right. Right, left. Right, 4, left, 4. Right, 5, left, 5. Right, 6, left, 6. Right, 7, left, 7. Right, 8. Right, 9, left, 9. Right, 10, left, 10. Now, over to the right. Now we're going to begin the step. All the weight's on the right. Now, as we turn the waist, we step out with the toe facing straight ahead. Fill up the left foot, empty the right. Bring right foot over, fill up right, empty left. Left, empty right. Bring right foot over, heel first, touch heel, lift heel. Step left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and then to finish, step out onto the heel of the left foot, settle the weight 50-50, lower the hands, straighten the knees, bring step, you reach an end there, you stop, and you start it over again. You practice this over and over and over again until you get good at it. If you're using the tape to practice, just back up, go back and study that part and do it with me over and over and over again until you feel comfortable with it. And then you're ready to move on to the next step, which involves the hands. Okay, now next we have to go over the hand movements, which are called cloud hands. And again, the waist is going to determine the movement of the hands. It's a very important move, and probably you can see it more clearly with this perhaps than with the other movements. In cloud hands, you'll be turning your body, just as we did this exercise right here. You'll be turning it 45 degrees from the right to the left, inhaling to the right, exhaling to the left. Let's make sure we get that correct. Inhale on the right, exhale on the left. And again, that's something that you would come to much later, but the mechanics is the most important thing now. Now, in terms of what you do with your hands in cloud hands, one hand will be up in front of your face, near you, right around this area, the lip, nose area, and you'll be looking at it, and it'll be a generous distance from your body. The lower hand will be directly below it, tracking it, as though it were tracking it. And one way to think of it is as though you were holding a kind of rod or a tube between your hands, like so. And you hold it all the way, and you'll turn your waist 45 degrees to the right, and the hands will switch places, and you'll catch that tube or cylinder with the left hand on top now and the right hand below. And then you'll turn the waist, the hands will move across the body, and then you'll go to the other side. One hand will drop, the other hand will rise, they'll switch places and catch that. Now I'll go into more detail facing the mirror and take you through the exercise. Now again, it starts kind of arbitrarily here. Let me get back far enough so I don't block myself off. You start with the right hand up, and the reason for that is because when we started the leg exercise, we started on the right foot. Start with the right hand high, the left hand low, right around the navel area. Okay? The thumb should be right near the navel area. Okay, then at this point, you turn to the right, and as you do, you hold it right there, because that's where you're going to be when we transplant this onto the legs. Now rotate the right wrist outward and let it fall. Now this begins the movements. It falls at the elbow. Right hand falls, left hand comes up, catch the cylinder. Now turn the waist, and as you turn across, fold the bottom hand in toward the body, and as you do that, rotate the upper hand out as though waving goodbye. And let the left hand fall, right hand rises, catch the cylinder. That's one. Inhale right, hand switch places, catch cylinder, exhale left. Two, hand switch places, catch cylinder. Inhale, bottom hand falls in, right hand falls out. Catch cylinder, back to left. Hand switch places, catch cylinder. Now back to the right, bottom hand falls in, top hand falls out. Four, hand switch places, catch. Back the other way, bottom hand falls in, top hand falls out. Four. Five. Five. Six. Seven. Go on with that exercise for quite a while. A lot of people feel a lot of magnetic sensation when they do that exercise. So don't let me, if you want to keep going with that, that's just to get you introduced to it. Now our purpose is to move forward and graft this onto the leg work. And what we did, we take the leg work just as we did before. Let's go back a little bit. You bend the knee, you turn 45 degrees to the right, put that right hand up, the left hand below. Now rotate the right wrist out, let it fall. Places catch cylinder. Now, once they achieve this proportion, this structure right here, then it's time to step. Step left, turn the waist, carry it across, bottom hand falls in, top hand falls out, hands switch places, catch cylinder. Now it's time to move. And back to the right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. it off. Now, you can do this, if you were practicing this, you can go back and start all over again, just as I started it like this. And reach the end, and then start again. You have to just sort of practice it on your own until you get good at that. Then you move to the next step, which is called the middle towel, and that's the little towel with the cloud hands grafted on as a retreating movement, and that'll be the next thing that we show you. Okay, now we move on to the middle towel, and I've had to turn around and face you, which is going to create some confusion for you, because if you're going to try to use the mirrors to follow me along, you might be a little confused. So what you'll have to do is kind of get your back to me, and then kind of look over your shoulder like this, and begin the movement like this. Now, it shouldn't be that hard if you practice the little towel enough, because you should already know this move. You should already know the opening move, which is a 90-degree step to your left. All right? The reason that I'm having to do it in this direction is so that your front will be to my back when we do the cloud hands, and it will look exactly as I did prior to us getting to the stage in the process. Okay, so without further ado, the middle towel. I'm not going to talk too much through this one. Backwards, repulse monkey. This is the only time you use repulse monkey now. The reason for that is the logic behind this is that through the little towel you get a lot of practice with repulse monkey. Now you need to practice cloud hands because it's a new move. So the middle towel will emphasize cloud hands. Now, the one restriction on the middle towel is that you have to end rush knee push with the right foot forward. Now we're going to a transition movement. It will put us back into a fold. It looks like a fold for rush knee push. But we use this to get into cloud hands. Right foot for the transition going forward. You also use it for the transition to go backwards. Hand switch places. Grab a ball, and then you step to the left. Go forward, shut. Right foot becomes a key transitional foot in the towels and also in the form. cue on the right foot to finish. Inhale up. Exhale down. Left foot. Close. Now, another option would be just to keep going. Just like in the little towel, you can just keep going odd infinitum, odd nauseam, one of my favorite expressions. As you're going left like so, I didn't have to end it. I could have transitioned on the right foot, catch the ball, step left, and I could have started over with parting while horse's mane, which puts me in a slightly different orientation. But I just run through everything that I did the first time through. Now, and I'll reiterate this, the only restriction you have in the middle towel is that you must end both brush knee push and shuttle with the right foot forward, because that will put you in the proper position to go back with cloud hands. Because remember, cloud hands moves in only one direction. It moves to the left. You can't move, at least at this point, you can't move to the right with it. So if you observe those rules, then you should have no trouble with the middle towel. Then you're ready to move on to the next level, which is the big towel. All right, now we're into the big towel, the last thing you learn before the actual form. And I want to just preview the two, basically what the big towel is the middle towel with two more movements tacked onto them. Two movements are Taiji heel kick and a movement that's actually two movements called snake creeps down and golden cock stands on one leg. I treat them as one movement because they flow so smoothly into one another. They're basically postures, and one moves into the other. So let me demonstrate what those will look like. The kick, I'll just start it from a position like so. The kicks works very similar to stepping out and parting while horse's mane, like so. But instead you scoot down like so and bring the hands up. And you kick, initially you kick low. You want to bring the knee up high, but then kick low with that right hand right over the leg you're kicking with, off at a 45-degree angle, and that left hand out behind you as a balance. Then you put the foot down at an angle, then you have to turn it straight. And you do that by turning your hips slightly back toward the right, the rear leg, and you turn straight, up, kick 45, and if you're going to have trouble with your balance, kick low, you can even touch your foot. And turn the foot straight by turning the body slightly, and then come forward. And then as you get better, you kick higher. Kick. Down, turn, scoop, up, kick, put the foot down, turn, scoop, up, and then you can kick higher, scoop, up, kick, put the foot down, turn, scoop, up, higher and higher. One more. Scoop, up. Okay, now snake creeps down looks like this. Now I'm going to do it at an advanced level. All the way down to the ground. So, forward, and here's golden cock stands on one leg. Turn. Forward. You don't have to do it that low. You can do it in the mid-level if you need to. Whatever level you are capable of doing that. And then finish. So, now those two movements are the last two movements that you attach to the middle towel. So now I'm just going to basically do the middle towel again with those movements attached on. And you can follow along with me again. First movement's going to be awkward. You'll have to start with your back to me, like so. And then you're going to kind of look over your shoulder and then start with me, and then the rest you should be able to follow pretty well. which foot is forward for repulse marking. Turn, fold, brush, and push. And brush and push. Remember that right foot has to end the brush and push movement. Do a couple more. So I end on my right foot proper. Maximize the amount of distance I have here. Now transition to cloud hands. Now step into cloud hands. Transition on that right foot. Catch the ball for the next step, which is show. 90-degree turn. And the rest of the movements are 45. One more. Transition. Now the fold for the kick. Looks exactly like the fold for a shuttle. Step out, scoop. Now I'm going to do these kicks at a fairly advanced level. Now, senior citizens and people that have leg problems should be kicking lower, just like that. But I'm going to go ahead and kick more athletically because it feels good. lats kick. Snake reach down, fold. Snake reach down. Again, I'm going to do these real low. You do them at your own competence. You determine where you do them and how. One more. And left to the right. Now the big towel is something I don't go into a great detail on tape because I'm assuming that you're going to get a little bit more of a breakdown in class. It shouldn't be attempted just off of the tape, but if you're that skilled, then go ahead and try. And the next step we move to is a brief little study of a transitional step called empty step, and then we'll go on to the forms. Okay, now the next step is a transitional piece of footwork with a variety of hand postures that are stacked on it in the form. I don't really deal with the hand postures because I feel like you can deal with those once you get to the form. But I do believe that the footwork is so unusual that it needs to be focused on so that it becomes an afterthought by the time you get to the form. It's called empty step, and the dimensions of it as compared to the other footwork you've learned, for example, in the front step and the retreating step, the dimensions were 1 shoulder width wide and a little bit of length. Well, in the empty step, you have no width. Okay, so if I'm facing the camera straight on here, I want to put my rear leg, and it will only be done just like clap hands to one side in this particular form. You go on to learn other forms of Tai Chi, like the 48-step form, then you learn to do this on both sides. But for the 24-step form, it's necessary only to learn it on one side because that's primarily the side that you use. All right, now you're going to have your rear foot, your right foot at a 45-degree angle, and your front foot will either have the toe touching or the heel touching, but it will be empty, thus called the empty step. And there will be no width. You won't have any width between your feet. If you slide the front foot back, it should strike the heel of the rear foot. Your hips are pointed straight ahead. They're not turned according to the rear leg. This is one of the few times you have a situation where the navel points in a different direction, different from the kneecap of the weight-bearing leg. Usually it works wherever the weight-bearing leg is, your navel and kneecap will line up. And it does do so briefly in a transitional moment, but then it turns this way, and it does so to develop muscles that go into the kneecap. So it's a very useful step. Now I integrate this in with the difficult step, so what I'm going to do at this point is just lead you through an exercise, and you can follow along with me, and just follow my counsel through this. Okay, start just like you do difficult step, turn, step out, settle weight, hands on hips, inhale, exhale, sink, inhale, shift weight to right, and now you're going to step out in a difficult step, 90-degree turn. Now, instead of rocking back as you would ordinarily, you come forward onto the front leg, balance completely on that left leg, put down the right foot. The right foot comes from its position, put up exactly as it was. Foot's at the same angle, foot comes up, touches down 2 to 3 inches behind the left foot so that the heels are lined up, 2 to 3 inches behind it. Turn the waist, shift the weight completely to the right leg, then you pick up the left foot slightly, then turn and extend the left foot touching the toe down. Even though in the form you will use the heel occasionally, primarily you use the toe. So that's what we work with on this. Now put the foot down, that's the end of the move. In order to keep going, we have to get back into a front stance. So put all the weight on the front leg, and then move the rear foot over. It's one of the few times you ever move the rear foot. Now we begin again. Forward onto the left leg, put it down at a 45-degree angle, 2 to 3 inches behind the left foot, turn the waist, transfer the weight to the right, pick up the front leg, and turn and stick it out. That's the end of the move. We do it again. Put the foot down, up, step, turn, stick out empty leg, head straight ahead. Put the foot down, move right foot over, you're ready to begin again. Up, step, turn, stick out. Start again. Up, step, turn. right, turn, empty that front foot, turn and stick out front foot. Foot down, move rear foot over, up, step, step. Down the foot, move rear foot over, up, step, step. Foot down, move rear foot over, up, step, step. Foot down, move the foot over, up, step, step. Foot down, move the foot over. Come all the way up, down, turn, turn. Put it down, this will be our last one. Come all the way up, put down that right foot, turn, and stick that left foot forward. Now to finish, just put down the left foot, bring up the right, settle the weight 50-50. Lower hands, straight knees, and then bring in that left foot. Now you, again, just like all the other exercises that are broken apart from the actual form, you can repeat that over and over and over, and you will have to in class to get used to that. And hopefully that little videotape sequence will help you with that particular move. All right, now we're up to the 24-step form, which I demonstrated in the beginning. What I'd like to do first is to demonstrate a modest way of doing the form where I'm not getting really deep down, which is how most people should start. And I have seniors in mind whom I'm trying to really focus on with Tai Chi as a health exercise. And I don't want to encourage seniors to bend their knees too much and damage them. So I'm going to demonstrate the form facing the mirror so that you can follow along in a very unchallenging, for me it's an unchallenging level, but for many others it might be very challenging. So just follow along with me and I'll do the entire form, and perhaps you can follow with me. All right, in conclusion, I'm going to perform the 24-step form at a very advanced level in terms of lowness to the ground. I should also point out that you can perform this you can add an additional burden to yourself by going as slow as you possibly can. There are many levels to this, so by going lower, you increase the leg strength, and I do want to demonstrate how that could be done and how difficult it is. The strain will be showing on my face, I'm sure. But I'm also going to try to go pretty slow at the same time. So, however, it's possible to go so slow that we would run out. I mean, I could spend 15 minutes doing this form if I went as slow as I possibly could. And we don't have much tape left, so I'm going to stick with the low stance and go fairly slow, just to demonstrate how challenging this can be. that concludes the Yang Style 24-step video. I hope you've gotten something out of it and hope you will continue to use this video in your practice.